Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. Welcome to today's video where I'm going to be discussing the care and the propagation of the Alocasia zebrina. This is a really beautiful Alocasia. It's actually one of my favorites and it's well known for its zebra-like petiole here, which is why it's called the zebrina. The leaves are nothing to marvel about because they're quite common for Alocasia leaves like this. They're very prehistoric looking. It's very interesting. Arrow shaped, and it's got really beautiful veins on the main leaf here, and yeah, it's known for its just really beautiful triangular leaf. So it can get pretty big. So let me quickly walk through with you the history of this one got and why we're doing today's video. This plant actually put out a little baby here and it's growing for quite a while. It used to have bigger leaves, but the thing with most alocasias is that they would put out new leaves and the old ones will die off. But this is not particular as healthy specimen. I usually start my video with a healthy plant that I would propagate, but in this case, unfortunately, no, this is not healthy because the leaves are getting smaller and smaller and I keep losing a lot of leaves. A healthy plant, I would say, would have maybe 4 to 5 leaves at any given time. So this one keeps shedding leaves. They would yellow up, fall off, curl off. And the reason why is overwatering. So I actually kept this in its nursery potting mix, which is, I don't know, some kind of weird mix of whatever the nursery cooked up with, and it's usually very soggy. They don't like it to be in soggy, wet soil. So it is my fault that I haven't repotted it. I would have normally given it a terracotta pot maybe with the same media so they would drain faster, or I would just give it my aeroid or forest floor potting mix and really back off with watering. So I'm going to be propagating it. I'm going to show you how I can grow bigger and better leaves to care for it properly. But let me dive into the care. First of all, these guys are endemic to the Philippines, in case you didn't know, from some of the islands in Philippines, not the main islands if I read correctly. And they actually like direct sunlight, but keep in mind they don't like to be in full hot afternoon sun, so it will burn them. So a bit of direct sunlight, very, very bright indirect light would be very good for them. If you put them in medium to low light, they will not thrive. They will yellow up, they'll fall off. And these guys are also very, very prone to spider mites. So if you're not giving them the right watering and sunlight and nutrients, the nutrients will help build up their immune system. So it's important to fertilize your plants regularly, but dilute it. Yeah, these guys are very, very prone to spider mites. So I actually put a lot of pesticides on this guy as a systemic control. And again, these guys like to be watered when it's almost bone dry, so they don't like to be sitting in water at all. This is very too soggy for it. And one of the way that you can attain that is to give it an airy forest floor potting mix. They can also do arid potting mix. By the way, arid potting mix will actually drain a little bit faster, so it is your prerogative what you want to use. But I tend to believe that alocasias are forest floor dwelling in nature, so they might appreciate more of that forest floor potting mix. This will also enable them to grow their rhizomes freely, and they can put out all these pups like this one here. So I would first prioritize forest floor potting mix if you have it. If you don't, you can use like a half peat, half perlite kind of combination. Water them frequently, but let them dry out a little bit fast as well. Or if not, you can just use the aeroid potting mix and it will be okay. Do fertilize these guys. I would say a little bit more than your philodendrons and anthuriums. Alocasias are a little bit more of a heavy feeder. So yeah, I guess if you keep this indoors, you definitely need to treat them for spider mites regardless. I would just treat them with neem oil every 3 to 4 months, or in my case I use furadon. This is actually pretty bad pesticide. It's actually not supposed to be a pesticide, it's a biocide. It kills everything. So if you have children or a pet flying around, you need to be more mindful of that. So yeah, just be on top of your pests because these guys will definitely have spider mites, just like with all the other alocasias. So without further ado, I'm gonna switch a new angle. I'm gonna just start cutting up this plant and explain the anatomy of the plant to you in close-up. All right, let's get straight to it. So I used to tie this here like a little bit higher up because the leaves used to kind of get out of control or they would curl down. So let me peel this off. Ew. And then show you what happens here. So they have really close internodes. So each of these ring here represents a node. So that's where a leaf used to be. And they all, each of these nodes have the potential of becoming its own plant. Like this right here, this is actually the growing eye. So something will grow out of here if the top portion is cut off. So we're going to do that. We're going to be cutting the top portion off and then root that top portion. So we do need some aerial root to go here. So I may have to unpot this before I make the decision to cut, because without any aerial roots, this one the top cutting here have a low chance of survival. And from where we make the cut, the bottom should produce a lot of branches. So I need to see how deep this rhizome go, because I don't know if you call it a rhizome or tuber. I'm not sure. Don't laugh at me. But yeah, they can go pretty deep. So that's actually, for these guys, it's good to plant them in like a deeper pot, a longer pot, so that their rhizomes can kind of grow downwards. And then sometimes the rhizome will curl around and it will put out little baby bulbs here. So we're gonna unpot this, we're gonna do a minor surgery, and we're gonna see what's inside here. And then we're gonna pot it up in the right medium. So I do want multiples of these plants. I'm gonna get very greedy today, so let's see what we have to work with. With alocasias, you always have these random bulbs inside too, usually. So yeah, this is so soggy wet. I'm so sorry. Actually, probably need to separate this from the other plants because I water down my plants very heavily. Oh, I see an earthworm here. Ew, let's see that. Ew, I see one more here. So this is actually a very healthy plant. It's very nutritious. That's why the earthworms are there. So yeah, I might scoop them out. I might separate, because I'm really grossed out with working with plants that have earthworms in it. So this is that baby. How cute is that? Let me show you up close. Ta-da! And then I need to inspect. Oh, I see more. Yeah, I see more stuff here. Hang on, make sure I'm not touching any of the earthworms. Okay, I see more. Yay! Yay, I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, look at that. How cute. So this is trying to put out a shoot, so I need to plant that, but maybe because this is probably deep in the soil, so it needs to find its own way up. And somehow plants figured out gravity. They know which way up it is, and they'll shoot upwards towards that. But if I plant it up on its own, kind of not so deep, this will grow even faster. That's amazing. So you should repot your alocasias often. I mean, not that often, but you know, they actually put out these bulbs. So when it's like, I don't know, 9 months to a year, maybe it is time to repot it and see if you have any babies down there. I don't want to touch any worms, if there are any worms. I would totally scream. I will scream live on YouTube. See, that's a growing eye. Very cute. And that's another growing eye too. So these are all potentials. But the thing is, I do need some roots. And this is normally the alocasia tubers or rhizomes. They can grow really long down, so you can cut into sections. And this one, I am not so sure. I'm not so sure if I'm gonna get so greedy. All right, I believe I basically used some stick. I don't know, this used to be a philodendron, I think, to sift through. And I think I got most of the worms. I'm not sure, but whatever. I did find something else in here. So this is also another thing, another rhizome, and something trying to grow out of it. So maybe this is also trying to grow something out of it. So this is gonna be very cool. And actually, sometimes some of these little bulbs are attached to the main plant, because this is how they produce them. They produce them from the main plant, so they don't they appear out of thin air. So then it's worth to check the roots to see if any of these bulbs or rhizomes are attached to it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to be cutting this up. Sorry, little guy. I know it's so young. Let's cut it up and let's see if this survives. I hope this does. So I'm going to watch back to this video, because I'm going to forget these things. I'm going to forget what I did because I have so much going on. I have over 1,500 plants now, if I'm not wrong. I stopped counting, probably more. And if you're watching this, I haven't been filming for a month. I have pre-taped everything up to 2 months ahead, because I'm focusing all my energy on a plant shop, possibly. So I'm gonna confirm soon, by today maybe, if that shop's happening. So yeah, I've been working on that, and there will be a video content for sure if we do deal with the space. So I'm planting all these tubers basically. Where possible, I'm gonna find the right side up. And this is actually very sopping wet. I'm not even gonna water this today. So I want the tuber to be kind of in the potting mix, but not too deep. Like, I want the shoots to be a little bit exposed. And this is actually the bigger one, sorry. Let me get its own pot. I really need to learn to label these too, because I don't. And then I forget what is what. All right. I may not even fertilize these at this time, because I remember that about 2 months ago I did put a bit of worm casting on top, and I did see some slow release fertilizer, so I don't want to over fertilize these baby plants. So this is fungicide. So I'm just gonna spray a little bit on the top of the soil, so whenever it gets rained on, the fungicide will do its magic bit by bit. So another thing with alocasias is that they do put out a new leaf from the petiole. So if you have a new leaf that died off, you can go ahead and cut it off right here, not down below. But if it is an old leaf, you can go ahead and remove it because it's no use for the plant anymore. So this is where I'm gonna get a bit greedy. This is actually not a lot of roots, by the way, guys. And I see a bit of root material here that may have rotted off. So this plant is just not so happy in its potting mix. So I'm gonna make sure I wanna get a little bit of roots. I'm so nervous, you guys. This is an expensive plant. This is not cheap. Oh my God, do I wanna really risk it? Do I wanna cut above where there's no root and see what happens? Do I wanna do that, you guys? Do you guys want me to do that? I may do that actually. Of course, okay, just let me explain. If I cut it below here, but the thing is that everything is so close together. Look at how close. So if I make the cut here and get a little bit of the root, the top portion will have a lot of chance of survival. But then, this is all so close to one another. I don't know how I can cut it all the way through. And I also see a lot of growing eye here. So I don't know, man. Let me see. And I'm feeling the rhizome here to make sure that it's not mush, which is good. This is still pretty strong. Oh, there you go. See the little bulb here? This is a baby that's going to happen. I don't know if I should. I'm gonna pluck it off. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Look at that. Hello, little one. Oh my God, this is so cute. I'm gonna plant this with this one over here. I'm just gonna put it in, and I can see which side up it is. You can see this sharp point. That's the top portion. And there's some roots happening below. And I just gently put this in. So, okay, back to our dilemma. Do I want to be super greedy, you guys, and try to do without any roots? See, this is mush. This is rotted off. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna cut somewhere along here because I see a growing eye here. That means that if I cut above that, this growing eye should activate. No turning back now. Okay, oh my God, this is a greedy cut. So I have this basically, and it's got no aerial roots, but it may put out aerial. It should, in fact, from one of the nodes. Some of these will have potential to put out roots. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a little bit of a rooting hormone. I don't want to. I used to touch this with my hand, but I don't want to do it now because I've got some burn here from Dieffenbachia that I worked with yesterday. So I'm just gonna dab it on the table and just kind of do that. Sorry. So I'm gonna do this here, and I'm gonna put it in sphagnum moss because that's where it's most sterile. All right, here's a see-through thing, see-through pot, and I just want to use a very small amount of moss. Do not overuse your moss. You don't need that many because you tend to overwater them if you have too many moss, and also if it's rooted into the moss, it's very difficult to untangle them. So this is trying to flop over. So what I need to do is I need to get something to hold it in place. Okay, I'm back. So I just basically took a piece of coconut husk and just stick it here to just let it stand because it's trying to fall over to one side. There. Now it's standing. Yeah, I need to keep my eye on this. Give it bright indirect light. At this point, I wouldn't put it in some direct sunlight because it just doesn't have roots. It's gonna burn. It cannot take up nutrients and water meaningfully. So I need, just to let you know again, this is a very risky cut. The chance of survival, I would say, is less than 25%. So yeah, don't judge me if this goes wrong, but we have a lot of insurance here, and this should put out a lot of baby plants too. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this in two actually. Okay. I know that a lot of the experts, they would just basically be able to figure out each node and it would cut this into many pieces. But I don't know, am I gonna do that? You know, I may do that. I may cut this even more. See this? I may cut it into a little bit more of a... I'm going really greedy today. Really greedy. Sorry. There, so that's one cutting here. Hopefully there's a node here I can't really see because the internodes are very close. So I have a feeling that this should work actually. There should be something. There's enough roots here as well. So this is the two things. This is the base of the tuber. So if there's a growing eye here, it should put out something. Again, do not overwater these. I did lose a bit of roots. That's okay. Just chuck it out. For this one, I don't know if I want to be greedy or not. Do I? You know what? No, this is actually the very important part. The trunk is very thick. This is going to produce big leaves. So I'm going to leave this as it is. Yeah. So I'm going to be giving this a very wide pot. This is so that it doesn't, what do you call it? It'll dry off faster when you have a pot with a wide lip. In fact, I may put all of them. Do I want to put all of them in one? No, they'll tangle up too bad. They'll tangle up really badly. So I'm just gonna do this. Ooh, I see earthworm. Ew, I touched it. So that's one. So that's a bit of moss. And then you want to squeeze all the water out. Squeeze it out because this is too wet for the propagation purposes. Yeah, so that's that. I'm done. So this last one, I'm going to be doing arid potting mix. And just to be sure, I'm going to add a bit of pesticide and fungicide on this to make sure that the previous media is not carrying any kind of disease. So just a reminder to myself, these guys actually rot and they can turn to mush very easily. So do back off with watering. Don't water these guys too much. They don't require it. So what we have here, let me show you what we have in total. The 3 of these are cut from the main trunk or the main rhizome. One's in sphagnum, one's in arid potting mix, and one's in forest floor potting mix. I do need to give them some pesticide and fungicide. I haven't done that. And this is the parent plant that's in moss. It has no roots, but let's hope that it sprouts some roots. I have a feeling it won't. These guys, they die so easily. They get stressed out and they drop leaves quite easily. So I don't know. Let's see about this one. And then here are a few of the bulbs. I believe there's 3 or 4 in here. Sorry, there's only one big one here, one big bulb or rhizomes, and there's a few in here. So I'm going to give you guys a few weeks update or months to show you how they're doing. So this is actually about 7 or 8 days after the propagation, and as I predicted, the leaves did not make it. They actually declined very quickly, and that's what happens with alocasias. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, the new leaf is unfurling here. This is the latest leaf. I'm going to cut it right here. And then this one I'm going to cut it off at the base. But what's most important is at the bottom, the tuber part, rhizome is rooted. So we're counting on that actually. And of course nothing's happened with the other ones yet. So we're going to come back in a few weeks or months. So it's been 5.5 months since our last propagation. And here are the plants. I did lose one pot. It died very slowly. I overwatered it. But then I have 3 remaining pots. I haven't watched the old clip to see how many pots we started out with. Sorry about that, I've been busy. But I ended up with these 3 pots. And I believe this one here with the terracotta, this is the top cutting. And it's given me beautiful leaves. It's a steady grow. There's one more leaf in the back there. I just kind of water this every day. This gets very, very good light. Bright indirect all day with maybe about 2 hours of direct sunlight. Very fast draining forest floor potting mix. They're actually very thirsty in this condition. This one's in the general purpose potting mix. Both doing okay. This is a smaller cutting. So they really love to dry out very fast between watering, and they like more light than we assume they do. So some direct sunlight is very good for them. So as usual with alocasias, they always shed leaves. So don't worry about it, just take it off. They're always shedding leaves, but new leaves are always coming up. So this one's in a plastic pot and an arid potting mix, surprisingly. So I've got all these in different combinations, and I would say that all of them actually do quite okay. The trick is to just have them be in fast draining potting mix. Don't let them sit in water. Water them frequently, but give them very, very good light. And I actually don't agree with having them in arid potting mix now. Maybe I'm a little bit wiser now than before, because they actually put out a lot of pups. So these very chunky cocoa chips may be in the way of them putting out their pups. So for alocasias, I definitely recommend the forest floor potting mix moving forward, but they can absolutely live in the arid potting mix. Some of the alocasias, like the Frydek, I believe they're also climbers, so they actually do put out a main stem that climbs, so maybe they do appreciate a little bit more of this arid potting mix. But anyways, yeah, so this is everybody. I guess I will end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys are caring for your plants well, propagating them, learning new things every day as I do. And I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye!